Okay, so convertible notes. If you're an early stage founder, you've definitely heard of them, right? They are the go-to for so many startups. Why? Because they're fast, they're flexible, and they let you get that money in the door without having a huge, painful fight over valuation. On the surface, it looks like the perfect way to get that first check. But are they really as simple as they look?
And that's the thing, isn't it? That feeling of simplicity. It's a bit of a mirage, and it can hide some really serious legal traps for founders who aren't paying close attention to what they're actually signing.
So let's get real. When you put your name on that dotted line, what are you actually agreeing to? Because it's a whole lot more than just a simple promise for some shares down the road. You're signing a binding legal document, and it has real, tangible consequences.
All right, to really get this, we have to completely reframe how we look at these notes. Forget about future ownership for a second. That's not what this is, at least not at first. The cold, hard legal reality is it's debt first and only maybe equity later.
By its very definition, a convertible note is a short-term loan. Your investor isn't a partner or a shareholder just yet. No, legally, they are a creditor. And that one little word, creditor, oh man, it changes absolutely everything if things don't go perfectly to plan.
In this right here, this is where the danger really creeps in. It's the huge gap between what you think is happening and what's actually happening legally. You see it as future ownership, but the law sees it as a loan. You think it's just a simple agreement, but it actually gives your investor creditor status. And you might feel like it's off the radar until the next round, but it's really a ticking clock. This disconnect is where so many founders get into serious trouble.
Okay, so how does this all actually play out in the real world? Let's unpack these hidden risks when that loan-first reality finally kicks in. So every single one of these notes comes with what's called a maturity date, usually about 18 to 24 months out. You got to think of it like a hard deadline. If you haven't raised a priced round, a funding round with a real valuation, by that date, the pressure starts to build, a lot. You might even find yourself backed into a corner, taking a bad deal just to get the note converted before that clock runs out.
And believe me, that ticking clock isn't free. Let's say you take a $100,000 note at 8% interest. That doesn't just sit there. 2 years later, you're not converting $100K of value. You're converting over $116,000. That's more than 16 grand in extra equity that you're just handing over. Every single delay literally costs you a piece of your company.
So what if you miss the deadline entirely? If that maturity date comes and goes and you haven't raised the right kind of funding round, you are technically in default. Now look, most investors aren't going to call you up and demand their cash back. But the key thing is, they could. They legally have the right to. And just having that option gives them a ton of leverage to come back to the table and renegotiate for much, much better terms for them and much worse terms for you. Now, imagine you've done this a few times. You're juggling multiple notes, all with different maturity dates, different valuation caps, different interest rates. It's like trying to untangle a dozen sets of headphones at once. It is a complete legal mess. And you can bet that when a big VC comes along for your Series A, they're going to look at that mess and see a huge red flag.
Okay, I know that sounds a little scary, but here's the good news. You can absolutely avoid these traps. You just need a smarter fundraising strategy. So let's talk about how to do that.
It really just boils down to 3 simple things you can do right now. First, keep your terms consistent. Pick one standard template and use it for everybody in the round, no exceptions. Second, track every single detail from day one. And third, maybe most importantly, ask yourself if there's a better tool for the job.
And that brings us to a really popular alternative, the SAFE, which stands for Simple Agreement for Future Equity. The difference is huge. A SAFE is not a debt instrument. And that means, poof, no maturity date, poof, no interest, and definitely no risk of default. It was literally designed to strip out all of that legal friction we've been talking about.
So let's zoom out for a second, because this is about so much more than just picking the right legal doc. This is about making one of your very first foundational decisions as a leader.
Yeah, it's really not just a document. It's a decision, a big one, because the terms you agree to in this very first round of funding, they set a precedent. They send a powerful signal to all of your future investors about how you operate and how you value your company's legal and financial structure.
I mean, think about it. You are literally drawing the first blueprint for your entire company's legal framework. If that foundation is clean and thoughtful, it builds trust and creates momentum. If it's messy, it just creates friction that's going to slow you down for years.
So as you're getting ready to take that first check, you have to ask yourself a serious question. Are you building a foundation of strength and clarity,
Or are you accidentally planting a landmine that's going to go off and create a painful surprise down the road? The choice is yours. Choose wisely.